Hello, this is the sixth lesson of our composition workshop. In this video, we are going to analyze Chaconne by Heinz Holliger, composed in 1975. We are going to listen to the first section too, but we are going to analyze only the second section. Like Lutosławski's Zahar variation, Chaconne is also for violoncello solo, and both pieces are composed with the Zahar hexachord, but as you are going to see, in a completely different way, and the result is extremely different. This is the first section. Let's listen to it. I'd like to give brief information about the structure of the first section. The first section of the work is merely a presentation of the Zahar hexachord. The hexachord has been repeated 6 times, while the order of the pitches remains untouched. The octave registers of the individual pitches mostly change. The fifth phrase is especially interesting since it uses the pitches of the Zahar hexachord only to indicate the point of contact for the natural harmonics. The actual sounding pitches are different. This is the second section of the work. In total, there are 6 sections, and this is the section we are going to analyze in our lesson. Let's listen to it, and then we are going to talk about it. The piece is a perfect example of serial thinking. Remember the Zahar hexachord? Zahar hexachord has 6 pitches. As a reflection of this, the piece has 6 sections, and each section consists of 6 phrases. You see here 6 phrases, and each phrase consists of 6 units. Those are phrases. Each phrase has its own system. Every system is one phrase, a structural phrase. It is not always noticeable. Sometimes you see here commas at the end of the stop, but here not. Here also not. But structurally, there are 6 individual phrases. Those are units. In every system is one phrase, and every phrase consists of 6 units, unequal length. As you see, there are always 2 notes in every single unit. Also, in the second phrase, we have 2 notes in every unit, except for the fifth one. Here, C flat is the repetition of the C flat from the previous measure, so we can ignore it. As a result, we have 2 notes in every single phrase. If you look at the continuation of the section, you will see that there are 2 notes in every unit, either as interval together or as tremolo or as trill, like here. Why is that so? Why does he use 2 notes in every unit? Because this is the second section. In the first section, we have only 1 note in every unit. In the third section, we are going to have 3 notes in every unit. And in the fourth section, we are going to have 4 notes in every unit. And in the fifth one, 5. In the sixth one, 6. This is really a perfect example of serial thinking. Everything is connected with numbers and everything has a reason, as a mathematical or quantitative reason to be here. I assume you know about the Zahar hexachord. I will not repeat it again. The letters from the name Zahar give the hexachord. This is one of the most famous pitch sets in the 20th century music. We saw how Lutosławski worked with the Zahar hexachord, and now we are going to see how Heinz Holliger worked with this hexachord, and it is very different. Holliger takes the Zahar hexachord and he also takes its inversion. You see, this is Zahar hexachord. The beginning tones are the same. And he takes the inversion of the Zahar hexachord. Then he makes a table with transpositions. You see, this is the original Zahar hexachord without transposition. Then he transposed the hexachord on A. The intervals are the same: tritone, tritone, minor third, minor second, perfect fourth, and major second. And then he transposed this hexachord on F sharp. Not everything is the same, you can check it. And then on G, on D, and on E. You should always ask why those pitches. Why does he transpose the Zahar hexachord on A? Why not on G first? Why not on B natural? Why A? This should have a reason in this kind of music. The reason is the following. This is the inversion. The pitches E flat, A, F sharp. This is the inversion of the Zahar hexachord. Then comes G, D, and at the end E natural. He takes Zahar hexachord and then he transposed the Zahar hexachord on the pitches of its own inversion. And you see there's a very strong connection between the elements, and this is the essence of serial music. Another wonderful thing he does is we have to think E flat again at the end. You will understand why. He starts to group. He groups the pitches to create two-note groups. So in every group we have two notes in the second section. In the third section, we are not going to analyze the third section, but the principle is the same. In the third section, he makes groupings in three. In the last one, he starts here and ends there in order to have 6 groups. In the fourth section, I'm sure you can guess it, he makes groupings in 4. This one continues until here, and then he begins with this one and continues until here. By the way, that was wrong. It continues until that point. This is the principle he applied in the piece. The reason why he did that he wanted to create intervals. I numbered each group in this order, and this is a clearer view of the intervals. First phrase, first unit. First phrase, second unit, etc. In the first unit, we have this interval. In the second one, we have this one, and so forth. And then he applies this process to every phrase. He makes in every phrase groupings, as shown here. In the third one as well, the same principle. And then he gets this table. As you can see, 6 phrases, 6 units. Everything seems perfectly organized. At this point, he could have started to compose. But he didn't start to compose at that point yet, because it is too clear. We can clearly hear the scale, hear the hexachord, Sahar hexachord here, with its intervallic structures, and it always remains the same. I can play it. If I play the first phrase, we can hear this characteristic Sahar hexachord sound. And if I play the second one, and now the third one, it sounds always the same, only transposed. This is obviously something that Holliger doesn't want to have in this music. So he does the following. He places 4 empty tables as shown here, and he begins to place the phrases, but not horizontally, not vertically, diagonally. He begins here and he continues diagonally. He does that for every phrase. Here, the phrase 4. I began in my example with phrase 4 because it is the most obvious one. It demonstrates the principle very clearly. And he does that for everyone for the first phrase. The second phrase is here. Actually, I'm going to explain what that means. So, this is the second phrase, and here is the third phrase, fourth phrase, fifth phrase, sixth phrase, etc. And you can see the diagonal placements of every phrase. The beginnings of the phrases you see here, phrase 1. And phrase 2 should be here. Once again, I'm going to explain why you see here question marks and some notes in parentheses, and why the third phrase begins here. The decision has not been made randomly. The beginnings are also diagonally. This is the first phrase. Here, we saw it here in this order, 1.1, which is here. Then the second one is here, This is also a diagonal placement, but every time one stop has been skipped. After the second phrase, one stop has been skipped, and this continues until the last phrase. After that, we have to collect them on the same table. For example, this one, this is 5, 5. Then it should begin here. 3.1 is here. And 2.3, it is 3, 6. It should begin here, 2.1. 1.1 is here. And what is left? Everything is here, yes. And then he can begin placing the phrases diagonally. This is exactly what he does in this table. But I said there are a couple of things. You see here some question marks, some numbers in parentheses. Let's take this one, first phrase. It begins with 1.1, then 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Now we expect this one, 1.5, but we get 6.5. This one, it should have been this one, the number in parentheses according to this system, but we get this one. 6.5 is here actually, but we have it here once again. So, and then he continues with 2.1 instead of 1.6. We expect this one, the notes, the numbers in parentheses, but we get this one. 2.1 should have been here actually, but we don't have 2.1. Instead of 2.1, we have 2.3 twice. We have here 2.3 and once again here. We have 3 units that don't fit to our system. If we collect all of them on one table, we see this part, these 3 units, don't fit to the rest of the system. The question is, why? Why did he use those pitches instead of the systematically correct ones, the ones in parentheses? In my opinion, there are 2 options. The first one is he made a mistake. He made a mistake in calculation and somehow he wrote wrong pitches. I don't know. The other option is a musical choice. He chose those intervals, those pitches, because he wanted to have them for some reason. I think those are the most probable explanations. And this is the pitch material of the piece. We have 6 phrases, and each of the phrases contains 6 units, and every unit contains 2 pitches. And this is the realization. The notes are not in these octave registers. I transpose them in the middle register in order to make the structure clearer. As you see, he uses the pitches in many different octave registers. He also uses harmonics and he combines the harmonics with the regular notes. He also uses glissando and many different dynamic levels, different playing techniques, and so forth. To conclude our lecture, I'd like to play the piece once again. Let's listen to it. That's all for this lesson. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.